Welcome to the Big Ideas Show and welcome to the hot seat, Jo Nolan.
Thank you, Leo. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, good to have you in. We're going to have to do super quick, aren't we? Because you've got to rush off. Got all these important places to go.
I know. I'm very luckily being invited to the Pinter Gala tonight. So
very nice. So
and I am a fan, and I know not everyone is, but I absolutely love him. So
okay.
I am an audience member.
Okay, very nice. So we're going to be nice and on it, aren't we?
Yeah.
But still get loads of interesting info. We are going to be talking about who's going to see it. We're going to be talking about that So, Jo Nolan, Screen South.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
So, for those who don't know what Screen South is, let's go straight in. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Well, we are really a cultural development agency. We work across arts, film, heritage, and sort of wider immersive work now as well. We deliver projects, we create projects, project manage for others, and we do a lot of talent development and training around sort of creative industries and access.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Right. So it fits perfectly with our audience and engagement because that's a lot of what it's about, isn't it? So,
well, it's all about the audience, really.
Yeah.
I mean, even if the audience is, my engagement with an artist, they're my audience. So, you start from the beginning with who you can engage with, and what stories you want to tell, and who wants to hear them. And so, if you are thinking about any sort of project, you're always starting with, well, who can I talk to next? Who can I share this with? And how can I take it further? So you have to have your kind of personal little marketing thoughts about how you're going to get yourself over, then help other people get their projects over, and ultimately it's all about who's going to see it in the end. And, why you? Why now? Why this?
Yeah, definitely. You've already got me thinking of more questions that I want to ask, in addition to the ones we've got kind of written down. But let's go for the quick-fire questions first.
Good, yeah, keep me focused.
Yes.
Because I can talk forever about
We've got to keep on time. Yeah. I've got my little timer down there to try and keep an eye on it. Right, okay. Consume, create or curate?
Yeah, well, you have to do all three.
Okay.
Because if you don't consume, I don't think you're a great creator. And if you haven't got people creating, you've got nothing to curate. So from my point of view, I guess I am a curator because I produce and I like working with people, although I do every now and then get my own equivalent of a paintbrush out, whatever that might be. My job really is to promote and support other creatives to get their work out there, and to get their work funded and supported in some way, particularly new and emerging. Yeah. That's kind of my area of expertise, really.
Okay, go on then. I'll let you have all three.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the best audience you've ever delivered to or presented to, or?
Well, I did think I had an answer here, but I think, I think a best audience is somebody who really understands you and gets you. I mean, I support other people to get their audiences, but if I've got a group of filmmakers in the room who understand where I'm coming from, or a group of artists who want to work with me, they're the best audience for me.
Yeah. Because you get that connection.
You get the connection.
Which is, for me, I've been thinking a lot about this recently. This is kind of, I think, what it comes down to, right? We create stuff to connect.
Absolutely. And you need to know what journey are you on in that connection? Where do the wheels hit the road for you in terms of the moment where you've got the ultimate audience experience? Yeah. So mine has to be the engagement with creatives. That's my ultimate moment. Because I'm taking audiences to mean people you work with and want to work with, as well as people who are going to sit and be viewers, or walk into your gallery or into your cinema or turn on, to your digital platform. Yeah. But for me, I can't get to that point unless I get my audience who are the creatives who want to work with me.
Happy to think about both at the same time.
Yeah, you do. You do. Yeah. But ultimately, the best audiences for me are 5,000 people sitting in the cinema watching some fantastic piece of work that I've been involved in. And occasionally that massive audience that happens on a big screen in, international festivals, and you sit at the back going, wow, that's just brilliant.
It must be amazing buzz.
Yeah, because you've got a huge audience and the likelihood of an award and, you know, everything that goes with it for those artists or filmmakers.
That leads me nicely on to the next question, which is favourite compliment or feedback, or I guess I could even say experience for you from doing something like that.
I did a project, we've been involved with Random Acts, which is a Channel 4 programme, and part of that was another piece of funding to support those who just finished the Random Acts and needed to go on to make another project or to be involved with setting up a company or doing some training. And last year, all those young people who were all sort of 16 to 24, who had taken that first step into really establishing a professional approach, presented that work at RADA. And I have to say, it was one of my proudest moments. It was absolutely brilliant. And it was a real industry, tough audience, some of them. But it was also their peers and their families. You know, so it was just a real kind of,
Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Okay. Right. Who is your ideal audience?
Oh, it depends on the project.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I like an audience who are really going to be provocative and critical, and give feedback and, you know, understand that there's going to be a wide audience out there who will benefit from their feedback. You know, when you're mid-projects and you do that sort of thing. And other times you need an audience who are very happy to pay their money and enjoy the film or the product or the gallery or, you know, the event, whatever it might be. And, you know, the best audiences are those who are putting their hand in their pocket and giving the money back to, you know, to where it's needed. So it totally depends on the journey this project is on and the intention of the audience plan from the start.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
How do you attract new audiences?
Well, that's a big question, which I'm doing a lot of work on at the moment.
Okay.
Because there are certain areas of activity where there are new audiences all the time. You know, look at music and the way that you know, certain artists are generating, you know, bringing in young people who perhaps haven't listened to this sort of music before, and they get hooked, and it's, you know, and they're very clever and really interesting in terms of the way they manipulate media and online platforms and, you know, everything.
Yeah.
And have that kind of constant understanding of needing to be on the button about building your new audience, you know, and selling, you know, your uploads or downloads rather.
Yeah.
So the music industry it's totally audience driven, and if there isn't an audience, you know, it's very hard to keep going.
Yeah.
Same with the film industry. Same with, not so much in terms of necessarily the arts world, because there's a different scope about the way this is working, and the audience may not necessarily always be expected to be huge audiences. They have to be willing to pay sometimes for that work, or, you know, get it out into galleries, and you want to see it doesn't start necessarily with clearly that this is going out to a big wide audience and you have to grow new audiences, but actually you still do, because you need to have new audiences for your work, and you have to have people who haven't engaged with this area of activity joining in. So for example, at the moment I'm looking at how can young digital makers grow their audiences. Yeah. And they really need to know, they have to have a marketing plan, they have to have a personal marketing plan. They might have somebody like a distributor or somebody like us or a broadcaster working to support their work, but if they're not actively out there getting on the button, getting to know editors who'll talk about their work, whether that's online, offline, broadcast, getting to know people who write about their work, getting to know people who will talk about their work, getting to know people who will share and push a button and put that work out there. And if you're not constantly on it, or getting somebody else you know who's good at it to get on it, then you're going to lose the opportunity, because it's a kind of live moment where what you're doing is interesting. And sometimes people think, well, I'll wait to the end when I've finished, and then I'll get it all out there. Yeah. But they've missed an opportunity for people to join in with their first decision, their idea. You know, so if you put an idea out there, and you get feedback, whether that's like me and you and your friends and 10 people and 20, 30 people, those 30 people are going to want to see that idea at the end. Yeah. What happened? Where did it go? Yeah. So if you do that online, and you get 300 people who then talk to other people, you know, that's maybe 30,000 who want to see your idea,
Yeah.
and you haven't even done anything yet. So I'm not saying that it's all, that's always how it works, but if you are, as a creative, using the digital platforms in a way that allows you to have a conversation from the start and to grow an audience out of who are interested and whatever that might be, then you're building to it. So next step, I've got a commission, I've got the money, okay, or I'm finding the money. Can anybody help find the money? Kickstarter campaigns, all of that. That's all about growing an audience for your work. Talking to investors, equity or hard or soft money, at the Arts Council or BFI or wherever you're going to look for investment. They want to know, before you've even done anything, what's your potential audience? So you do have to be thinking from the start about that. Otherwise, so I just think new audiences need to be on the journey with you. They need to engage in a way that the music industry engages, across all film and arts. And I think that if you are serious about growing audiences, you do it online and you do it offline, you give people the opportunity to grow audiences with you. Yeah. So it's a really interesting moment right now, because the whole way that the kind of explosion of opportunities on the net is, I was talking to you earlier about blockchain, but the way that's working, people are Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but actually it's a huge marketing opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to get your work out there through that distribution of knowledge and engagement. So there's a very interesting opportunity coming up in terms of growing new audiences.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, take the audience, build the audience with you as you develop. You get that feedback and you get that growth, and you get to the end and you're not kind of like, oh, okay, I've made this great thing. Oh God, what now to get it out there? You've
got to have a plan. I mean, even if your plan with a small project is to go, I'm just telling people I'm doing this, they may be in contact with you. You've got your people who are clicking on you, the views, they're of interest, and finding ways to galvanise that and to get them connected in, to keep in touch. Yeah. As a new artist, a new maker, it's a great. You didn't have that at your fingertips. Yeah. However many years ago. Yeah. Now you've got a real opportunity, and in a way, as a maker, I think find somebody who'll work with you, who's another collaborator, like, if you're a filmmaker, you're going to have your director and your DOP and all the rest of it. Well, at that point, your producer, whatever, at that point, find somebody who's going to be your social media or your, distributor or your audience developer, who's kind of constantly going, no, let's do this, let's behind the scenes starts with the idea kind of thing, and people love that. So it's just been interesting and provocative and clever about the way you think about engaging with audiences.
Yeah. If there was someone who was kind of, say, starting out on their own and they don't as yet have people, what would you say is the balance? Like, you've obviously got to be a good creative and have a certain amount of talent to start with, and you've obviously got to get it out there. Where's the kind of, what would you say is the balance? Because I think it's very easy, isn't it, to get sucked into the creative thing, but it's also very easy to get carried away and, yay, this is cool, and then when it comes to, come on then, let's see your work, and you go, well, I've been so busy building an audience.
I just think it's really important to do the work. Yeah. Because otherwise you can talk about it till the cows come home and nothing will happen. Yeah. But you've got, the most important thing is the creative development of the work, and your creative development as an artist or a maker. If you don't have that, you've got nothing to talk about. Yeah. So,
so the creative
better beware of kind of just shouting about something without actually doing anything. Yeah. But I'm sure lots of people have done that in the past.
So we're talking, I guess, that advice is on the basis that you are a creative, you have a certain amount of talent, and you will always naturally, I think most creatives probably be naturally drawn to the creative part, and so it's that support to get them out. But you see, I did a talk to quite a big group of school kids recently, and I said to them all, there's a big audience, so about 200 or 300 of them, and I said, look, put your hands up if you think you're creative. And a few hands went up. I know. And I just went, well, put your hand up if you think you have taste about what films and music. Loads of hands went up. Yeah. Who makes decisions about this? And I was just asking them some creative questions, and the hands started going up. So
it begs the question of why don't those young people see themselves as creatives? Where do they see themselves fitting in terms of creating and audiences? Because that's... And what I said to them, actually, was, it takes one person to write the script, for example, but it takes a team of maybe 6 around them to make that script happen, or make it get on its journey, that production journey. And then it takes around 150 to 200 people to make that big project. And then it takes hundreds of people and thousands to get the audience, because internationally all those exhibitors and distributors are all working for that one idea.
That's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it like that?
Yeah, so the chain of audience and engagement, before it even goes to the so-called what you think of as an audience sitting in their chairs or walking into the gallery, there's an audience of hundreds that you need to get on your side before... But also, all those people are contributing to the creative idea. They're in one way or another, whether it's marketing, whether it's telling somebody to go and see it, or whether it's actually sitting down with the artist or writer or director really doing the work. So all those people, they're all jobs. And they're all people who create awareness about that project and give time and energy and creative ideas to that project. So, whether you're the actual core writer or Beyonce or whatever. Beyonce's probably got 100 people around her.
I had something saying she's the least independent woman, given how many staff she's got.
But that means that there are some really good people around her who make that happen. Or just put it into games. There's one game, maybe one guy's come up with a game, or girl come up with an idea, and they live in the middle of some rural village in the middle of Denmark. This is true. And they get this great idea off the ground. They start sending it to their mates, and that's they like that, and that builds, and they like it, and suddenly it's the equivalent of moshi moshi or something like that. Or it's that whole world of gaming. Totally understand their audience and how those ideas are driven by the people you're engaging with online. So looking at film, music, and interactive, the way that audiences and engagement is driven is by supporting good idea.
Yeah. And it's exciting how, as you said, they're all starting to cross or influence each other and
totally
and stuff like that.
No, I think that's very exciting.
Okay, let's go to the kind of slightly trickier for some people, or the questions that I assume you get a lot is around the funding side and audiences and funding, and where that kind of comes together and what comes first. How would you approach it if someone was coming to you saying, right, I need some funding for this film or any piece of media?
Okay, so my first approach is always about the work. Is this engaging to me? Does it feel like it's got something going for it within the integrity and the not necessarily the heartness, the heart, the soul. And is it singing in one way or another for me? And then if that's the case, then I can take ownership of it. And then I have to figure out, well, how are we going to help get this off the ground? And even if we have got funds, will the people that I think who gave us those funds agree that this is right for it? So that's about convincing others. And then I just go, okay, in some cases, the money will be on the table already for a short film, maybe, or for smaller projects. And in that case, it's about, does the person who's making this piece, it's brilliant, it looks fantastic, do they have any idea about where it's going to sit with their audience? Because this piece cannot sit on a shelf. It's got to get out there, and it's got to get out there to the audiences that they want to reach, that the artist or the creative wants to reach. They need to have an understanding of who they're talking to, as much as possible. Sometimes they can't see it, so I or somebody else has to do it for them. Because we have to have that. Because if we don't have an audience, the funders will just go, well, we should only be giving you £10, not £1,000, or £1,000, not £1 million.
Purely based on size or the type of audience?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, they always ask about size. Right, there's different things. So if you're talking about a new and emerging creative artist who is looking for some funding to get their work off the ground, well, they need to engage with gallery owners, distributors, sales agents. They need to engage with the people who are going to get their work to an audience, or broadcasters or whatever. online platforms. The artists can't guarantee what the audience is going to be.
Yeah.
But their producers who are working with them, or the people who are making a decision to fund with them or to go out to seek funding with them, need to know.
Yeah.
So they need to understand with that artist or writer, well, who do we think your audience is? Who's your... So it's the best way to do it is have a conversation with that person, with your producer or with your distributor or person who's going to take your audience, as I said earlier, the audience development kind of line for you. And it usually is the producer.
Yeah.
And so they'll be saying, okay, you know, you're going to go out and make something brilliant, but, you know, this is a genre that's in, they try and put you in boxes or cross-genre, you know, whatever in film. Or this is kind of, you're in the vein of as an artist, you know, or this is completely out of the box as an artist. It's new, but it'll appeal to these, you know.
Yeah.
People who like that will like that. And that isn't trying to get the creative to do something different necessarily, unless there's something not working in a film usually. But it's about the producer trying to make sure that when all this is done, the money that's been invested is reflected in the audience who want to see it. So if you're going to make an independent film, £7,000, like El Mariachi, which did go big, but you know they made that in North Mexico for like $7,000 or whatever.
Wow.
So it was a ridiculous low amount of money. They made a lot of money on the back of it, but when they were making it for a local TV audience.
Yeah.
So they knew they couldn't spend a lot of money on it. Or, you know, I'm just taking that as an example, but Blair Witch or whatever. They're always, you know, all those kind of small film projects that they're saying, we can't make this for a lot more than X amount, because we know we can get X amount from the local TV, we can get X amount from a local distributor who really specialises in this one area. So therefore, the value of this film is going to be about 50,000, so we're not going to make any more. And this is really very unusual to make a film for 50,000, but the value of this film is 50 to 100,000, really niche, low budget. 7,000 if you're lucky, like El Mariachi. But you make that film knowing that that's your audience. What everybody hopes is that then it crosses over and becomes a multi-million, billion-pound seller. You know, Columbia or Universal or whatever, BBC step in and pick it up and go, we love this, and you know, it's cheerio, hey, hey, all the way to the bank, because they've made it so well for such a small amount of money. But if you're making something that is, you know, I don't know, whatever, Shaun of the Dead, these are all old films. I don't know why I'm anyway, but, you know, which was 5 million, you know, and that's invested that was kind of equity, hard money. They want to know there's going to be an audience for that. And they will constantly go out and figure that audience out, and they'll be looking at international.
And they'll spend a lot of money on that.
Avatar, you know, 400, you know, what's it? I think $400 million or something. You know, they're going to be saying there better be an audience for it, and they might spend another 100 million in advertising and sponsorship because there's an audience out there. So it's when you take that.
How long's a piece of string?
How long's a piece of string? And so you know, I've just done a bid in for the Arts Council, and we had to estimate potential online broadcast, live, exhibition, you know, gallery, festival audiences. Because at the end of the day, you're kind of saying how many people are going to benefit from this soft but public money. And is it worth the funds for the amount of people who are going to see it to the amount of money that's going to be invested? And if it's about straight creative development of this artist, there's a certain, well, look, you know, this is really, there are lots of really interesting curators and programmers saying this artist is really worth investing in, and we're not sure where the audience is. There's others where we're going, no, this programme is really worth investing, and we're going to engage with new talent, new short filmmakers, new artists, new dancers, new choreographers, who we think are, you know, really gifted or don't quite realise that they're gifted yet, but we're going to show them that they are, and give them the opportunity and put them in front of audiences and help them see audiences. So our audience has to be initially the participant and the artist we're engaging with, and that's a big drive to attract new people to work with us and to get them to trust us and to come on board with us. That's our big audience, and we're looking for 100, say, for example, in this current project. And that's going to be a hard drive to find those 100 really good people, and then another 200 are going to work with them, another 200 are going to help them. So that kind of 500 engaging and buying in, that's our big focus on our audience. But then all those 100 projects are going to have like, you know, well in excess of a few million,
yeah,
viewers, audience, to make that successful. And if you haven't got both, the participant audience and the viewers audience, then you're not going to, on particular projects, you won't get any funding. You've got to have both.
It's fascinating because I guess it's quite overwhelming because there's no hard and fast rules. It's so variable, but at the same time exciting because, like you said, you can make this film for £7,000 and before you know it, it's going massive, isn't it? So sounds.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's kind of audience. We're looking at the time.
We're looking at the time. We're going to have to wrap up soon, but because I know you've got to get off.
Go on, next question.
No, well, I'm just going to wrap up and kind of let you finish what you were going to say, and then tell everyone where
what I'm really saying is that as an artist and a creator, you've got to stay true to what you're doing, and you have to be honest and kind of sensitive to what you want to get out there, and you shouldn't, I think, let audiences dictate that path you're going on. You should. Audiences are discerning and. At whatever level, and they recognise, good work. And so I wouldn't want any creative to think, I need to spend my time building an audience. I want creatives to find their collaborator to help them build their audience and understand how important that is. And sometimes that's them themselves because that's what they're in that they're the best person to do it. And other times they need to work with somebody else. And they need to recognise where they sit.
That's a really nice way to wrap up that kind of. We've been so focused on audience, but at the end of the day, you've got to produce the work that you've got to produce, haven't you? And then you find the people to work with it. So.
And sometimes there's some really great work going on at the moment. Where there's only 2 people in your audience. And that's brilliant too.
And as long as it gets what they need, and that's what matters. They get value.
It's quite an intense experience, but it's worth doing. And maybe you have to do that 10, 20, 300 times with your 2 people in your audience, but.
They're definitely going to remember it, aren't they? So, Jo, I'm conscious you've got to get to your event. Do you want to tell our audience, where they can find out more information about Screen South, all the stuff you're doing? Because I know you're doing loads of stuff and you want everyone, as you said, you need to find those people, don't you?
We need to find our audience, so just go to the Screen South website. Everything's on there, one way or another. Or if you want to get in touch so that we can engage with you, you can email me. I'm on the website. Or pick up the phone and talk to anybody in the office, and we'd love to hear from you.
Nice one. Jo, thank you very much.
Thank you, Leah.
Cheers.
I love what you're doing here. It's brilliant.
Thank you.